And we're back. Possibly for the last time? I have no idea anymore. Okay. So, last time we, kept going, ran into some issues, but we got through it. And now we become basically a full Trohwala Trebomb. So, after getting down from this peak, main thing is just find another peak in order to, commune with the Trohwala. Now, I'm wondering, because there's that tower over there, and the goal is now just to find a tower and speak, but I don't know if we can run all the way over to that one, or what, so I'm just gonna move ahead and just see where the rest of the journey takes us. Okay, we got plenty of time to get to this one. What the hell happened? What? Oh. Hold that thought. Okay, I guess no one has a filter. Sorry, that was instant. I thought, okay. He's also my guy that has all the Trohwala upgrades, so might as well keep him along. Although I think they said, everyone's got the memory now, so that doesn't matter as much. Is there seriously no... Well, okay, we have a save. Hold on, I'm just gonna risk something. Because that beacon is still lit, so if we go to that tower, does it still work? I was thinking about that, but I go, no, let's just keep going. Let's check out the other areas. Okay, we're dying, so... maybe that was just a fluke or something, but... Might as well go out of our way since we're dead. So, yeah, anyways, I feel, I keep saying it, but I feel like we're almost at the end here. And we'll see. I want to get this game wrapped up because God of War Ragnarok's going to be playable in less than an hour and a half. And I want to get this, and the goal was to get this game done before then. And just, timing and circumstance came up and I just never got around to it. Get the elevator, get up. Up. Oh god, go away, please. What? Oh, wait, what? But in order to do that, don't we need... Okay. But, okay, I suppose... My mistake... My mistake was putting everything on one guy, apparently. But now how do we get onto him? Because he's... Okay, I see. Nope, jump on the... Okay. Sorry, trying to slip by. Okay, it wasn't too hard to get into one. I wasn't sure if we had to float or find a specific spot. Okay, I think the implication is, okay, maybe I thought just like, but I can't communicate now because these two mutations are, take up the head space. But I suppose, or the body. But now that we have all the connection, or all the Trohwala parts, we can just do this and then it should be fine. Well, dude, you already... Okay, something tells me I did this wrong. Okay, you know what? Go back. Sorry, I think I made a mistake here. I thought Okay, keep going. Keep going. That's the plan. Keep going. That was unnecessary, so sorry about that. We're fine where we're at, so we'll do the initial plan. Just keep going until the next thing pops up. Because I misunderstood. I think I misunderstood the point. Don't go directly into the poison patches. Suppose the point is we call out to them while we're near basically full Trahwala, while we're closer to the palace, so then they can actually get us up there.
The Trebhum sensed that somewhere nearby there was another structure like the one they had used to summon the Trahwala in the depths of the frozen tundra, and so the Trebhum knew that the end was near.
Alright, we ran into those plants before. Sorry, just focus, mind focused on getting to the end here. Supposed to pick up a little food. Probably be smart. Keep up, everybody. We're almost there. And, you know, they say get ready for the end, be prepared. So, you know, once we hit endgame, you know, that's it. I don't think there's really much else we need to do besides survive. That's the goal. Nope, what am I doing? Alright, not that I'm not enjoying this game. This is actually really fun, but... oh, there we go. That's the thing. Okay, yeah. It's just, I meant to get this game done sooner so I can move on to other stuff. We don't have a mind processor, do we? Okay. You sure you want to call the Trahwala? Okay, so yeah. End of days. We'll just put a manual save there just in case, but I don't think we need to revert. So, sing. Sing it for the world! Anyways. Alright, we got a good-sized group. I guess they don't do much, but, you know, they're with us, and that's what's important. Inside one of them again.
There are so few of us now. Perhaps tomorrow, or in 100 years, the Trahwala will be gone.
Whoa!
And all that will remain of us will be the memories you carry inside you. Or perhaps through some miracle, we will rise again, and our children will carry your children across the sky. We cannot know what the future holds for us. All we have, in the end, is this moment. And in this moment, all we can ask is that you sing to us. Sing to us of who we were, and the things that we witnessed, in the days when the Trebhum and the Trahwala lived together under the same stars.
Okay. Sorry, just getting to the palace. If the Trahwala can't survive this, that's why we have to live on for them. Somebody beat us here. Alright, everybody. We got everyone? I feel like we're missing some. Something's wrong. Okay, whatever. We're here. Oh, how do you get up here? Okay. Come at me, bro! Oop. Okay.
You must survive. Protect the memories. Just stay alive. The Trawala will help.
Okay, so I can't lose everything. Ooh! Just stay out of the red light. Follow the shadow. Because we can't lose the Trawala memories. Ooh, fighting back. What is that? Oh. Oh, man. Destroying all our defenses. We do not have much of a shadow to hide behind. Get him! Oop, he's coming up. Oh, gems. That's cool, but... Ooh. Oh. No! Let me down!
Just a little longer. Hang on.
Oh, we got disintegrated. Well, the memories are within all of us, so it means at least one of us has to survive. Nope. Yeah, Greg, you came a long ways, but now Swirl... Oh man, he was one of our best guys. He was also one of our longest running people. Man. Oh no. Oh god. Tuffle. Oh no, Glut and Gem. Okay, Tuffle's the last guy. Oh. Just kamikaze with that. I suppose one more last look inside the mind. With one last Trebomb. Hoping to get to the end with Gregwin, as long as I had him, you know, as hard as I pushed for that, for him to go out like this in the end. There's something. Someone. Hey, buddy.
Thank you, my young friends.
Ah.
You have accomplished what thousands of civilizations before you failed to. You've shown that the cylinder is imperfect. It may not have lost the war, but it certainly lost a battle. And that's never happened before. There's so much more I wish I could tell you. But there's not enough of me left, and I have one final goal. So forgive me for inserting myself into your memories, and for having to leave them again so soon.
So, yeah, the narrator, we've been hearing him try to talk to us specifically, as we enter the cylinder. So is he actually the one behind this? Is this like, was this all a test? And he's still not done. Or maybe so. Alrighty then. Oh, that's it. Okay, I suppose, now that it's broken, or at least there's a huge crack in it, I'm just surprised is all. I'd like to think that Trebomb sitting there is that Elder is, our guy who survived. I wonder what could have happened if more survived, but maybe... Okay, so that ended pretty abruptly, but okay. So yeah, that was the Eternal Cylinder. So, what I take away from it is that, yeah, this, the narrator, as it were, talking to us and saying, it's like, no one, sorry, out of several universes, no one has ever stopped the, beaten the Eternal Cylinder. It doesn't matter how much it destroyed, the fact that you won once is all you needed to do. And with that, we've kind of, I guess you can say, broken the cycle or broken the wheel. I don't know. Okay, maybe there's more.
And so the Trebum, who were not the strongest nor the fastest, and who did not have sharp teeth, escaped the Eternal Cylinder. They did not become one, but stubbornly stayed many. And they learned to be loyal not only to their own kind, but to others. Their great victory over the inevitable was the victory of generations, of the Elders, and the Trawala, and my own people, whose name I cannot remember. But even as what is left of me fades away, and though one day the cylinder may resume its destruction, I know that I was part of this family, if only for a little while. And that gives me hope.
Okay. Okay, so, again, what I'm assuming is, the Eternal Cylinder is kind of like the Reapers in Mass Effect, where it is just like this, galaxy-ending thing. Just in cycles, they show it, In Mass Effect, the Reapers show up, destroy everything in the universe, take what's left, form a new creation, and then leave again until, life comes back, and then they do it again thousands of years later. And maybe the cylinder, different, but, works a similar fashion, where it just kind of showed up. And either it was a creation of humans, humanity itself, and maybe even that, the, the narrator was the guy really behind its creation, or at least a voice inside of it trying to reach out, maybe even trying to stop the cylinder. If it was his creation and trying to stop it, seeing the havoc it wreaks and finding the error in his ways of creating a, like I said, it's the existential of, existential dread personified into a giant metal rod. It is Peter Hayden as the narrator. Good job, man. And everyone else. Jennifer Canary, Simon Jackson, Regal, Elton Jones. I was like, Elton John. Oh, wait, no, that is not that name at all. But no, yeah, like the voice cast and everything is really cool. What little there is, mainly from Hayden. But yeah, but anyways, so my thought is, mayhaps, the Eternal Cylinder, created by humans, and with the idea of if everything becomes part of it, peace will truly be, achievable because everything is inside this one unit. It's like one mind, one being, no outer conflict. Everything is inside, the one creation. And when all of existence is consumed by it, all peace is achieved. As it just goes around, planet to planet, universe to universe, whatever, destroying everything in its path that then all get combined into, the subconscious of the cylinder. Like I said, kind of like Reapers in Mass Effect, where, they take what's left of the societies they destroy and build, a new creation from it. So kind of the same thing. It's like if all the Reapers in Mass Effect were one, they are all technically one thing, but came together as one ship. So, it's like, the Eternal Cylinder just, endlessly goes across and just destroys everything in its path. And meanwhile, the Trebomb, like I said, it's like, are they like remnants of humanity, like devolved into like this weird hyper state or something? But, or, the another idea is the Trohuala come from another, if I got it right, because there's also like lots of scattered information that, some I might have forgotten about and lots of weird details, but, the Trohuala come from another planet or another world, and then the Trebomb living on this planet, tried to reach out to them, called to the stars, and, spoke out. And with that, sending out that signal into the universe, the Trohuala received it, but it also gave away their location to the cylinder. So the cylinder, came for them and then came for the Trebomb with what was left. And so, it's probably been ravaging the area for a while. And so, the ancient Trebomb have been trying to stave this off for however, millennia maybe. And then, losing their past talents, losing what they were, if they're not just like, if Trebomb just aren't like a, more primitive version of the Trohuala themselves, I don't know. I'm speculating off the top of my head, some details could be amiss. I don't know. But anyways, I'm just looking at these images as well. But, could this picture be like, could that egg be us at the beginning of the game? Is that Greg being dropped into this spot by the Elder? Because it kind of looks like it's in like a little bit of like a, half pipe for two of my best Trebombs, Daniel and Aurora Bordeaux. Bordeaux? Oh, yeah, and then that Trebomb. Yeah, that was us at the beginning. That Elder Trebomb dropped us off in that nest and then walked off to die. Oh, man. And then that's when the eternal cylinder kicked in for the first time in our first conscious, our waking moments. Interesting. I was looking at those pictures and, trying to figure it out. But yeah, it seems like, the Trebom, trying to survive the eternal cylinder, holding, trying to reclaim their memories in order to try and face it. All these tiny little creatures learning to adapt. They're not vicious, they're not strong, but they're smart. And combining together, working together, losing some along the way, they come together in order to, like I say, kind of bring a pause to the existential nightmare. Where, they're able to defeat the cylinder, at least for a little bit, but at the very least, it's going to bring about lots of prosperity for a little while. And, and then it's just like, it's time to pass on to the next generation on how to, make a better world that can stop the cylinder once again. And, maybe that narrator, like I said, the narrator, talking on and off, maybe creator of the cylinder in some way. But, it's just sort of like, we showed him that the cylinder can be beaten. And so with that, the mathematician, which could still, could be the narrator, they say like the mathematician is, another pawn of the cylinder, but it is also like the main thing. It's the main guy. It creates the other monsters. It's, it has influence. And it took stopping, again, going back to Mass Effect, kind of like how Mass Effect 3 ended, where, you face off the Reapers and then you meet the Star Child, and then you can convince him, even though the Star Child is like part of the Reapers, it's just sort of like, okay, you prove to us that we're infallible, that you can win. So we'll give you a chance. Choose your fate. And, then in, Mass Effect 3, you choose how the things end. It's the whole control, destroy, synthesize, endings in Mass Effect. And I'm assuming this is kind of the same thing, where, the all-powerful entity gives you a shot, where it's just like, you know what, you survived a lot longer than anyone else, I'll give you a chance, let's stop this for a little bit and see what you make of it now. And so, yeah, that causes the mathematician to, destroy the cylinder. It's like, we've lost, so let's give them a chance. If I'm making sense here. So, yeah, that just seems to be where we're at. And, yeah, like, I'll have to do some reading. I've been meaning to, let's see, can I look up a theory without taking too much time here? Hold on, I'm just reading something real quick. Okay, I'm reading, people discussing this. I'll have to go down some rabbit holes, because this is interesting. My brother, just stumbled upon this game, thought the creatures looked cool, and wanted to get into it. And, yeah, again, he's, scared of Dragon Ball because of the screaming. And yet, this body horror riddled thing is something he just absolutely loves. And I do see it. I do. This was actually really fun. I am glad I actually finally got around to this. Because, yeah, it's, like, very interesting. It's a very interesting survival game. You get all these little creatures, and, there is kind of like that tension, that, Fire Emblem on, classic difficulty thing of, growing your numbers, and then the horror that comes of watching them all get crushed or die, or something catches them, or just like, a predator snatches them up, or you make a mistake and it costs you like several members of your herd. And, it's just sort of like, well, as long as one can survive, you keep going. And, I shouldn't have save scummed as much. For some reason, I got the obsession, like, I want Greg to, live on and keep going. Where, meanwhile, Okay, yeah. Okay. But yeah, meanwhile, it's just like there is kind of that interesting tension of just like going with the flow, your decisions, and then like trying to press on with your numbers dwindling. And it's like that's kind of like a very fun, you really are going on this journey with the Trebomb of just like trying to survive and trying to see what the world has in store for you. And the different biomes of, steadily increasing difficulty. And some of it gets really tough and even a little annoying at parts, but depending on what you have. And part of that also might have been I might have rushed through this quite a bit because just like going ahead, feeling confident, and then just like going past, certain creatures, not exploring as thoroughly as I could have. Well, let's see. I think this is I forget, is this part 8 or 9? And every part's been like an hour, so, give or take, this took me like 10 hours to finish. And, How Long to Beat is a website I, go check out for, get averages on how long games last, just to get an idea of like, okay, what am I in for when I jump into this? And they don't have, or at least the estimates on Eternal Cylinder was about 12 hours. And, but that's also labeled as like a red, so it's not a concrete, timeline. That's just like a rough average between, the playthroughs that have been submitted. And, yeah, so a little ahead of that, but, I skipped on exploring. There are some things I just skipped and, stuff like that. But, yeah, overall, this was a lot of fun because, just like getting the weird mutations, picking up a new piece of food or item is a little exciting because you never know if it's going to glow and then give you a new mutation. And, varying, ranges in usefulness, which is interesting and fine. There are some things that are just like really cool, like, the floating body, maybe a lot of the body upgrades, or like how you change your skin to, adapt to the current climate. And then there are some like really not useful ones, like the psychedelic eyes that, are only really used in that one dungeon. So, or, other stuff where it's just sort of like, maybe these are more useful, maybe you just got to find the right situation to use them at. Like, I mainly just avoided predators as much as I could, just so I didn't have to deal with them. And then, just looking. Okay, so, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at settings again now. So, yeah, mainly that was also default difficulty, and, mainly the most annoying spots are, when dealing with a new cylinder agent, First time you meet the car, you gotta, angle it in order to destroy, open up the bridge so you can leave, which that's like, first time, that makes sense, where it's just like trying to show you, here's how this works, here's how you lose your power, so that's fine. But, some of the most annoying spots were the, the hunting parties, which is a dramatic, scary thing to deal with, but you don't have a lot of recourse when it comes to hiding, unless I guess if I had the camouflage mutation or, it's just like some parts can get a little annoying like that, just like huge difficulty spikes, and sometimes the cylinder chasing you is a little inconsistent. Like, it's gotta be tight, that tension of like trying to outrun it, trying to figure out how to manage your stamina while you're on the run, and like, and then just like the placement of other things, like where you end, as you're running away, are you going to run into another predator that is just going to get in your way, or in the slower parts where that one spot where I was like trying to hide from that, face on wheels thing, and it was just like right in my path, in the slow path of the cylinder, and trying to figure out just like, am I going to get caught by something? I can't run away like this, not efficiently. So yeah, there's just like a lot of really cool mechanics, very well, well thought out and detail-filled game. It's really fun, actually. I highly recommend it. But I am curious what, well, let's see. Now that we got, okay, but like seeing how the chapters are split up. But this is also really nice where, the game has a lot of, split up or split points where it's easy to jump back into Light from darkness. Okay, that's the... Okay. There's a lot of there's a lot of places you can start the game at, from the, the beginning and then the midpoint of every chapter. So it's very, easy to replay certain sections or, catch up or, jump into certain sections and then not lose your place, as there's very clear delineations between the chapters and major story beats. And as the story kept evolving from, it's just simply keep going, figure out what you can do, get this mutation and then activate this and then, try getting over the cylinder and see what happens. Nope, you can't do that. You got to keep going. It was get over the cylinder, see what happens. Nope, that's not going to work. Try and survive the cold and then figure out how you're going to get away. Okay, get to the palace. Okay, you found the palace, but now you got to get the right mutation in order to, get the lenses. Okay, you got to figure out how you can get inside the mathematician again in order to get your memories. It kind of just builds up, and it's actually each part is kind of compelling in its own way, where it's just sort of here's how the stakes have to rise yet again. And, it just keeps going until, chapter 4, where it's just, this all, mass corruption of the rest of the land, where, you just got, all, these red vines and everything's wrong. And just kind of, the cool thing of, watching the skyline as you move farther into the world, as, the sky changes and as planets and weird floating objects in the distance get closer or change. That's actually, really... atmospheric. I'm just curious. If we continue, where do we start at? So, yeah, it's just there's a lot of really fun details in this. Okay, so we just start back on the inside, so, right at the end. Okay, we don't need to replay that again. Although something I am curious about is how to, one of the more useless things was the, oddly enough, the permanent upgrades where, you put the right materials together and then you get to, get upgrades that you can just flip on, whenever you want. I forgot I could do that because I only did with the, filter trunk. But, how does that work? Because there's no way you can get all of them in a single profile. It's are they random every time? Or is it just is that the roguelite element of it where, each new playthrough you could, get another set of mutations and you get them at random? Because I really didn't get ones that were super useful. And then also you get far enough in the game where, certain materials do not show up as often anymore. Like those little, light and things. My microphone, it's fine. So, yeah, I don't know. It's it's really cool to give you the option to, get upgrades that the cylinder can't destroy. But, you get them so irregularly that it just doesn't feel like, it really matters. But I suppose, and I'm curious, this is my, it's do those mutations, carry over to another profile? Or is it just random and you just get what you get when you have a new game? I suppose that works too. It's not so important as long as you're careful, but in the chances where you do get caught up, and I suppose carrying them over into a new game, but then again, that would go with, the Trebomb carrying the memories over to a new profile, like a new game plus, which would be cool, but I'm not sure. But yeah, otherwise, the survival mechanics also were not that, not that grueling, where, maybe near the end, but that was, again, also partly to my rushing, even with upgrades, where I'm just, trying to get to the next section and not thinking about food and water. But also, it's I never, died because of it. Just a little bit can keep you going. So, the survival mechanics are also not that intrusive, to the overall experience. You don't have to worry about, hunger and thirst meters pestering you at every step of the way. Just take your time on some, take your moment, get what you can. All the Trebomb shrines have, a free pool of water and give you upgrade materials for free. I don't know how much you can upgrade everything, but, it's if you're thorough and, happen to run into some gem, sites, and then, sorry, and then, just get what you can, and then if you occasionally run into, mine some rocks for a little bit, you can get enough materials to get quite a few upgrades, and either if you focus them or spread them out like I did, kind of like focusing on one, then focusing on another, and then like spreading them out relatively evenly, it all worked out. So, again, the survival mechanics are not that intrusive. It doesn't feel like, certain other survival games like We Happy Few or anything where you're constantly being pestered to manage your thirst, and then the game will just like, where you gotta baby your character in order to survive, where it's like that's where it gets annoying. That was the default. So, and then we can just, I guess, flip these switches and then make that a little bit easier if you want that. Easier survival, water and food deplete half as fast. Yeah, I thought water would be a bigger concern, but not really. Like, as, just jump into a pond and you're good, even with, like, a big group of Trebomb. Sorry, I'm good. But, it's like, just jump into a pond, eat, there are plenty of other food options that just give you water. And then, yeah, and depending on how much you use the trunk spray, you might run out of water faster, but I didn't really need to use that unless I really had something I needed it for. So we were good. So, yeah, creature aggressiveness, yeah, sometimes the prey is, like, right on you, and some of them are a little annoying. Some of them are a little repetitive, but also the creatures all look really cool. It's like the different monsters that are all slipping my mind, but probably the Great Gar is probably my favorite. It's just like this huge, like, elephant giraffe that's just like, again, like the creatures on this planet are like also kind of like monsterish and kind of eldritch in a way. Just how like crazy they look. All with like these like giant bulbs of whatever, like, kind of like, yeah, these balls that either they roll around on or just like look like they're filled with gas as they like, vomit up acid or chase after you, or like, yeah, that like monkey thing. I don't remember any of their names, but it's just like there's a lot of crazy looking creatures on this planet, and it's just like they're all really cool looking and horrifying. So yeah, but tone down their aggressiveness. Sometimes, like, they're a little aggravating, but not that bad. Again. And slow down the cylinder when approaching players to give them more chance to outrunning it. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, there's the one spot where I wasn't sure what happened there, where the cylinder was just bearing down way too quick, and either I wasn't finding the right pathway through or I wasn't getting it, and then it broke and then didn't move, and then it just barely moved at all. So I have no idea what happened in that one spot, but otherwise, the cylinder, bears down on you, it comes close. Sometimes it's really close where it's just sort of like, I don't know if I'm going to escape. Or there were times where it literally like kind of threw me through the goalpost, which was really cool and really tense. It's like the open areas that give you ample time to explore, and then when you're ready to move on, you better move. And that's, really fun. So you can like sit your own tension, and then, the rare times where the mathematician breaks through a tower, or they change up how the chase happens, like it moving slower, but you can't get too far away from it. Or, or the things I did a couple of times where if you're confident enough, or if you're ready, or want to skip like some upgrade areas, you can just roll, hit a tower, and then if the outer rim is blue because there's just like upgrade areas there, you can just roll through it and get a big head start on the cylinder and move on to the next area if you want to move on. So that's nice. And on top of the other creatures that the cylinder is a part of, mainly the mathematician, again, it's like the monstrous body horror of some of those creatures. Just these weird mechanisms of human and, machinery, which are really cool and horrifying. The mathematician has a set of legs on one of his legs, and that is so cool. Or like the giant hand thing that just, yeah, sorry, looking at a text. I'm good. Sorry, stuff caught in my throat. I'm talking for a bit now, and I got other stuff to do. But anyways, But, it's like a lot of cool cylinder, creatures. Some of them are a little annoying, like those towers, but, it is cool seeing the mathematician toss one like a javelin. And just like weird creatures that you can face off with, and there are ways to dealing with. You just got to be careful, because that's kind of the thing. Just like the survival feel of, being aggressive is often deadly. Trebom do not fight, and their capabilities to fight often put them in danger. Like the little bombs that you can make, using like, the bomb maker mutation, where those things will splash damage and everything gets hit if you're not careful. So, your little Trebomb could be a little kamikaze, which is frightening and most likely lethal. Or, like that ice, that ice covered creature with like the dangling heart, where you got to get, either you got to be really accurate with how you toss that like little fire orb, or you got to get in close and go right underneath it as it swipes and gets more aggressive as you apply like literal heat to it. So it's just sort of like, becoming aggressive gets dangerous and often leads to someone dying, or at least very heavy injuries, which is interesting. And also, fighting is not, recommended, only when necessary. So, escape from the predators. You don't need to fight. So, yeah, the cylinder and its minions are pretty cool. Lots of fun. Again, body horror, which again, it's just sort of like, how did my youngest brother, put up with this? I'm scared of some of these things. And he's just like, whoa. And let me tell you all about the mathematician and his plans for, oblivion. But anyways, and then enemies chase and attack only with the player control leader. Okay, that makes sense, because like, you can only control one Trebomb at a time, so it's just sort of like sometimes the herd can get a little stupid and like early on fall into a pit of poison gas and then just stay there, or get caught up by a creature sneaking up on you, or sometimes the AI can get a little stupid, but I guess that makes sense as you're just like a jumbling mass of tapir heads on legs that are just trying to figure out what they're doing, and if they don't have an appointed leader, they just kind of scatter. But and then just like the little ways of getting Trebomb, either finding them on their own, or finding them using the gem upgrade material to try and get them back up, or bringing them the food they need to unlock their houses and stuff like that to increase your herd size. And then mainly I just focused on a couple, but depending on how pragmatic or how you want to set up your herd, you can spread your powers out and make a very versatile team. And then just as long as, and there are some nice things, like as long as one person or one Trebomb has an ability you need, as long as if at least one thing in the herd has like the filter upgrade, whenever anyone else in the herd steps into a poison fog, they get the trunk, the filter trunk, and then it goes back to theirs when they're out of it. So that's really nice. Just like this collective conscious of the Trebomb, able to share upgrades and everything. You don't have to micromanage every single Trebomb. You really do feel like a herd, where it's just sort of like, if you want to give one individual powers, you can sort that out, but just the general, they all survive together. You don't have to worry about finding a fruit for every, if you're trying to survive a harsh climate like the tundra, you do not have to find like a fuzzy plume for every single Trebomb in your herd at the time. They just get it as long as one has it, which is really nice. Again, it does not, it is not frustrating to manage the herd or play with the survival mechanics. So, I've been rambling for quite a while, but I think I made myself clear. And just like the accessibility options, just like making things a little easier. Not that the game is exceptionally hard, but that's not a problem, It's like, it feels very well balanced. Yeah, well optimized. There are a couple of weird glitches. The big one being, yeah, that cylinder just kind of like not moving, but because it wouldn't move, I couldn't progress through the game. So that was really weird. And other than that, the occasional times of like falling through the world and then maybe you come back to the ground. So a little odd. But yeah, what else is there? Just like I'll have to do some reading on, how people interpret the ending, because I feel pretty, mildly confident in my interpretation, where, the Eternal Cylinder is basically Galactus, but, eating planets, or Galactus or Unicron, eating planets and everything else it can find, but then saying, no, I'm doing this for you, be one inside of me. It's just kind of like that, where, you can find analogs all across media, and that's kind of where I'm pulling all this from. It's just like, oh yeah, this is kind of like this, it's kind of like this. Like I said, best analog, yeah, it's probably the Reapers from Mass Effect, where it's just sort of like, yeah, we destroy everything, we make them a part of our, herd, or, our collective unconscious, then we move on to the next, harvest. And we will harvest all the information, the life, all the data we can to make ourselves stronger. But every once in a while, or at least this time, a smaller creature came out on top. The almighty cylinder can, form a crack and fail. And so when that happens, it's time to just like pass on the learn, teach the next generation how to deal with this better in the future now that it's out of the way. So they won't have as many problems with it next time it decides to continue to roll. So yeah, I've spent more of this video just rambling and going over every little detail. I'm sure I've missed some stuff, but I think it's a good wrap-up point. So yeah, the Eternal Cylinder. Good job on the development team. I'm forgetting their names. Yeah, what were they called again? Actually, something that was kind of fun to look into is like the Eternal Cylinder was also, the studio behind it also did the Rock of Ages trilogy. And it's just sort of like, oh, that explains why it's so British. But in a good way, I'm trying to find, yeah, come on, where is it? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to find the team now. ACE team, yeah. Yeah, ACE, or no, I guess they're just Ace team. Okay, that makes sense. But, it's like, they had, they've got a bunch of different tower, or, games under their belt, but probably the most famous ones are, yeah, Rock of Ages, which I played most of 2, and then I played a bit of 3. And, those things are fun and funny, like, very Monty Python-esque. And yeah, this is just kind of like, seems like a very ambitious, thing otherwise compared to that, where it's like, Rock of Ages is a very, ramp-based, competitive game in a way. The weirdest tower defense. And meanwhile, this is just like a big game with like a lot of really cool details, a lot of really great visuals, and just like very fun mechanics. So yeah, I'm glad I finally played this. So, thank you to my little brother for recommending this game. You know who you are. I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to dox you. But yeah, so the Eternal Cylinder. I also want to do like a whole I was also planning on doing like a whole big review video on this, but maybe I'll get to that next year. I hope. It depends on how things pan out. But yeah, for now, I think I got, I'm good with my interpretation. I think we're going to wrap up here. And, hopefully, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, hopefully, in our real life, we can survive our version of the Eternal Cylinder and make, do well in our life as, yeah, the infinite, crushing weight of death hangs over us. And hopefully we can overcome that fear and press on to show the universe we're not that small. So, with that all being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara, signing off. And thank you for watching me play the Eternal Cylinder.